Hi, good morning. I'm Calvin Scott, and I'm the building sub here at Westlake Elementary. And we're here in Mrs. Rukes' sixth grade class. And we are studying the ecosystem with Mr. Rick Crosslin.
Okay, hey, thanks for that great introduction, Mr. Scott. I'll tell you, we're studying the ecosystem now. This is our kickoff for this unit. And so there's some new words that you may or may not know, because we're going to be studying how ecosystems are organized, how they get their energy, and how do organisms interact. So it's pretty exciting because you're going to learn that sometimes two organisms ignore each other. Sometimes two organisms, one takes care of the other, and sometimes two organisms work together with no problem at all, and sometimes they work together and they both benefit. That's one thing you're going to learn. You're also going to learn in this whole unit how living things get their energy. So let me ask you, what do you think in an ecosystem is the number one thing that provides energy for everything? Think. What do you think that's always there that provides energy for the ecosystem? What do you think? Yes?
The sun?
The sun, yes. We are a planet because our sun, and our sun is huge. If this is the sun, you know the Earth is only about that large compared to the sun. But we're far enough away from the sun. I like to call that, like the sweet zone. Too close and we burn up. Too far is too cold. But we are just the right distance that plants and animals and life on this planet takes place. Hey, no one's found life anywhere else. I hope we do one day, but we have it here. So in an ecosystem, the sun is the number one energy source. It provides heat, light. It provides radiation. It provides X-rays, gamma rays. It provides gravity that holds us in place. The sun is a big deal. I mean, really, a big deal. So, now, you probably know that sunlight comes and certain types of things, you learned this, certain types of things called plants take energy from the sun. They take energy from the sun and they make sugar. That's what plants do. In the sun comes light, right? Comes water, H2O, and comes CO2. Plants need that. So anytime you see a plant, they need that. All right? But we also have on our planet animals, right? For example, this may be like a bird of some sort here. So you got a bird. I'm not too good at birds, but it's good enough for now. So we got this bird, right? This bird is an animal, right? An animal needs O2, it needs H2O, and it needs food in the form of sugar. So what's so beautiful about this thing is plants take light, they need CO2, they need water, they give sugar. When you and I and birds eat a plant, we give off, what do we give off? We give off CO2. We take in oxygen. See how these two things are balanced? To me, that is beautiful. If you go to another planet and you just find animals, they're not going to live long because they don't have food or oxygen. If you go to a planet and you just find plants, they're not going to live long because they don't have carbon dioxide. So it's a nice balance. And so people worry a lot. What are we getting, if you've been watching the news, what are we getting a lot in our atmosphere these days? Yes?
Leftover carbon dioxide.
We're getting lots and lots and lots of this from burning coal and for having our civilization. Now there's a problem. If we get so much of this, it's going to heat the atmosphere, and there's a lot of question marks about how things are. That's going to be your job. That's why I'm so excited to try to tell you about some of these things in our system. Okay? Any questions?
If we get too much carbon dioxide, will the earth explode?
Okay, her question was, if we get too much carbon dioxide, will the Earth explode? I don't think the Earth will explode, but here's what the carbon dioxide does. It builds up here in the atmosphere. Here's what it does. It builds up in the atmosphere. You got that? Sunlight comes through. The Earth gets hot. Heat goes up and bounces down. Heat goes up and bounces down. And so what does that do to our atmosphere, having more CO2? Does it make it the same, colder, or warmer? Warmer. So our atmosphere is getting maybe 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer. Now what happens to the ecosystem if things get warmer? What happens? What happens to ice? Yes? It melts. They just had a meeting in Paris. Countries from all over the world said, we got to find ways to lower this so this doesn't get hot, so the ice doesn't melt. When the ice melts, what if you live on an island? What if you live in Florida? What if you live in New York City? In fact, 90% of the people of the world live close to an ocean or water. So you got Florida, maybe parts underwater unless we do that. So it's important to know about the ecosystem. Let's take a closer look. So take a look, guys. See the prairie dog town right there? How many prairie dogs do you see? Maybe 3?
Yeah, 3.
Okay. There's some other living things we need to take a look at. So a community are all the different living things. So let's make a list of all the other animals and plants you see in this grassland. What do you see? Yes, sir.
Weasels.
I think that's a ferret. That might be I think it's a ferret. Okay, what else do you see? Yes?
An owl.
There's an owl. That's a burrowing owl. A burrowing owl. It's actually in the ground. What else do we see? Plants and animals. Yes?
Prairie dogs.
Oh, we see prairie dogs. Definitely prairie dogs. I'm just going to put pea dogs. What else? Yes?
Eagle.
An eagle. I see an eagle. What else? Living. We've got mostly animals so far. What do you see? Anything else? It's called a grasslands. Yes?
Flowers.
There's flowers. I see a coneflower. And I see some sort of a sunflower. Anybody else see any other plants? Yes?
Grass.
Grass. And grass is a big thing here. We see grass. I see a little, yes. There's a bush. You see that small bush? So the community are all the living things that interact. Okay, now let's look at the last one. The last thing is called the ecosystem, right? It's a big circle. See it? Do me a favor, draw a line through the middle like this. Draw a line through the middle of it. And we're going to label it. And this is where I get to find out how well you've been doing your research. Okay? What do you call something that is alive? What's the science word for something? Yes?
Biotic.
Biotic. Thank you. So we're going to make a list of things that are biotic on one side. Spell that for me. B-I-O means life. Biotic. So all the living things in the ecosystem are biotic. We could call it, what's the other part called?
Abiotic.
Abiotic. In science, usually we put an A in front of it, it means the opposite. Abiotic. Now I got a hard question for you. Maybe it's not so hard. Can I borrow your pencil for a second? Here is a pencil. Is this biotic? And this might be a trick question. Biotic or abiotic? What do you think?
Biotic.
Biotic?
Biotic. It's made out of wood.
It's made out of wood?
And wood comes
And wood comes from a tree?
And trees are alive.
And trees were alive. So even though this is dead wood, originally it's biotic. But what about the paint?
Abiotic.
And what about the metal? And the eraser? And the graphite? Abiotic. Even though it's from the ground, graphite's a mineral. So that's why this was a trick question. So, but if you understand that just because it's dead wood, it was alive at one time. Are you ready? Here we go. Let's list some of the abiotic things in this ecosystem. So write the label biotic and abiotic. Throw this one right here. And what are some of the abiotic things? Yes, I love how you raise your hand.
Rock.
A rock. I see a rock. Now a rock is abiotic but it might have things living on it. What else? Yes.
Water.
Water. Now that's one that really confuses people. Water by itself is abiotic, but there could be things living in it. Yes, sir.
Sun.
What? The sun? Oh, I never thought about that. The sun. The sun. Excellent. Excellent. Yes.
Soil.
Soil. Even though there might be something in the soil, soil itself, abiotic. Now we got everything. What are we missing?
We're missing oxygen.
Oh, we're missing the atmosphere, or the you want to call that air, or but O2 is CO2 also. So you want to call it atmosphere or just air? What do you want to call it?
Air.
You can write air or you can write atmosphere. I don't know if there's any more.
We missed one.
What do we miss?
Temperature.
Oh, the temperature. Very good. Okay. So in the ecosystem, let's also look at what are the living, the biotic things. And what are some of the biotic things that we've already talked about? Yes?
Grass.
Grass. Plants, right? Let's do the plants first. Grass, yes?
The coneflower.
Coneflower. More plants that you might see there? Yes, sir.
The bush.
The bush. More. There is a sun. Yes?
The ferret.
Okay, we'll get to the animals in just a second. I think I saw a sunflower. Let's go ahead and get to the animals. You know the word animal means ana, to move, animate. An animal can move. Plants usually stay. Yes, sir.
Eagle.
There was an eagle. There was a prairie dog, a lot of them. I had to get a chance to go to a prairie dog town once. It was pretty cool. Yes.
An owl.
There was an owl. And anything else? Yes.
Ferret.
Oh, the ferret. Another name for ferret is polecat. Now, you're going to learn in the next week or so things called predator, prey, host. Okay, let's take a closer look at some other ecosystems. And I got my assistant here. Would you come help me hold this, please? All right, so here's one way to look at all ecosystems. There's two big abiotic factors, like from hot to cold. Some are really cold, some are really hot, and also from wet to dry. So you have a lot of diversity when you have a place that is hot and wet. What is a place that's very hot and very wet? Anybody? Yes.
The tropical rainforest.
The tropical rainforest. Or you can have a place that's very cold and very dry. And what would that be? Yes. A mountaintop or a polar region. Oh, yeah.
It was like the tundra.
The tundra. Now, I have spent a lot of time in hot and wet in the Amazon, and I spent a lot of time in hot and dry in the deserts of Egypt and Arizona. But one of my favorite ones is right here. This is the Amazon rainforest, and it shows all sorts of abiotic and biotic. And you can see that it's very diverse. What does diverse mean? Yeah.
Like it has a lot of them.
A lot of different organisms. Now you could have Indiana, if I take you to Indiana, a deciduous forest, I can show you like 5 different types of trees, but there'll be 100 of them. If I take you to the Amazon, I can show you 100 trees, but they're going to be different species. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So one way we measure diversity is how many different types of things. This is one of my favorite. When I was a kid in 6th grade, I lived out in Tucson, and I would go out in the desert and try to catch roadrunners. They run. They're hard to catch. But I would catch a lot of things, take pictures of them, look at them. It was kind of, I love going in the desert. I would love, love, love to go here. I've never been here before. Remember what I told you at the beginning? Where do most ecosystems get their energy? From the sun. So here we have the polar region. And because of these little critters right here, all these other animals can live. Now you might think, that is so weird. These are really, really small. But because of them, all these other animals can live. For example, all these birds fly by. They eat. They drop their feces into the water. That bacteria starts to grow. The sun helps them grow. The shrimp eat all that bacteria. The shrimp get bigger. Small fish eat the shrimp. Bigger fish eat the small fish. In comes the seals to eat the big fish. In comes the killer orcas, the narwhals, the walruses, and eventually some of the beluga whales. All of these things are because of these little bitty shrimp right here. Hey, would you like to take a closer look at some shrimp? That is a yes. All right, let's do that. You see your worksheet here. So we've set up a little experiment that you guys about 2 days ago, right? And this experiment has to do with an ecosystem and an animal called a brine shrimp. Brine shrimp, right? Now, a brine shrimp is actually a crustacean. It's a small little shrimp that lives in very salty water. And so what I like about this word brine is abiotic because that's salt, right? NaCl, calcium chloride. And the shrimp is bio because it's a small little critter. Now we set these up. Where's A at? This is A. We put no salt in A. That was our abiotic, no salt. B, where's B? B. Here we put 2.5 grams of this salt. So what we're trying to find out is if animals need abiotic features or factors. Do they?
Yes.
We're going to find out, okay? And then where's C at? See? Here we put a lot more salt. And finally D, we put the most amount of salt, right? Now these critters, there's a name for them. Every organism has a scientific name, usually two names, a genus and a species. Got that? And so the genus of these, this is a cool name, it's called Artemia franciscana. And you know why it says franciscana? It's so weird. It's from San Francisco. Actually, there's a lake by San Francisco that's very, very salty. And so this little critter right here, this little Artemia franciscana was named for where it was found. And so when we open this up, here are millions of these eggs. Now, so let me ask you, see these eggs right here?
Yeah.
Are they biotic or abiotic? They're living things, right? So what does that make them? Biotic. And so they hatch out if the conditions are right. Now, we don't know if the conditions are right because we added water, which is abiotic. We added salt, which is abiotic. And then we added shrimp. And so what I need to do, let's take out the air. We've been bubbling these. Take the air out. Okay, let's line them up. Line them up. Would you line them up? A, B, C, and D. Would you do that for me? Start with A right there. Where's A? There. Where's B? Let's put it right here. Where's B? That's B?
That's C. Yeah, this is B.
Put B right here. And where is C?
Right there.
And where is D?
Right there.
Now, if you notice, some of these are the eggs. Some eggs have not hatched, and some have hatched. What is your prediction? Which one do you think has the most eggs?
C.
Now, would you smell those for me and give us your definition? What is that odor like?
Bad.
Bad. So maybe that's something. Smell this one and tell me what that one smells like. Nope. No odor. Let's try this one. B.
Smells like fish.
Smells like fish. What about this C?
That one smells worse.
Worse? Oh, good. And finally, D. Well, there is an indication that something's happened. We seem like the smells have gotten worse. Or maybe you just don't like that smell. Oh, I love that smell. No. All right, so we have our different A, B, C. So now what we have to do is count these. Now, these are very small, very small. And here's what we're going to do. In teams, we'll go back to our desk, and I want to take a sample from the bottom. I'm gonna do one, then you guys do it. So here's A. Sample from the bottom, 1 scoop. Sample from the middle, 1 scoop. Or I should say 1 pipette. And sample from the top. Now, why do you think I'm sampling that instead of counting all of them? Anybody? Yeah.
Because there's too many of them.
There's too many of them. There's probably 10,000. We'd be here all day. 1 brine shrimp, 2 brine shrimp. So here is our sample A. I need somebody now to sample B. Where's B? Would you do that for me? Okay. And where are we going to take it? From the bottom first? Oh, it's better to squeeze. See what she did? When she squeezed, it's better to squeeze it in the air, but I didn't tell you that. Squirt out, squeeze it in the air. Oh, squeeze it in the air first. Squeeze, squeeze, and then put it in. Now let go. Middle, squirt, squeeze it in the air. Top. See how that doesn't bubble it all up? See what I mean? Okay, that's B. Okay. You're in charge of B. We need someone for C. Are you C? And now they're starting to smell nice, I think, right? Here we go. Here's C. She's going to do a sample from the bottom. Oh, look at the color on that one anyway. Sample from... Oh, no, don't roll it first because... There you go. And a sample from the top. Do you think it's important that we do it the same way each time for a fair test? Okay, here, hold that. And keep that pipette. We don't want to contaminate pipettes. And that leaves my friend here who did not like the smell, right? What's wrong with you? You don't like the smell? Okay. There you go, try it. All right, middle, let go. Now from the top. There you go. He says. Does he want to do another one? No.
No.
You're trying to have bias. See, we had 3, 3, 3. You want to do 4? Okay, thank you. Where do we get this guy? All right, that's all right. Okay, so now, here's what, I'm going to just do a practice one. There's D. Here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you a filter paper right here, okay? So the first thing you want to do is we want to see if anything is actually moving in these. See if anything's alive. It's alive. I hope they're alive. We're going to count living ones. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to pour this onto a piece of filter paper. And the filter paper should let the water go through, and what should be left? Brine shrimp, hatched out brine shrimp. Let's see. Can you see any? No, let me see here. All right. Tell you what, let's go to our seats and let's start our investigation. When you get your sample, go ahead and pour it onto a plate. We should be able to count them a little bit easier. Pour it on in. And now you might split it, put half on one plate and half on the other. Use your pipette to transfer. And start counting any that you see that are alive.
Yeah, where's the thing?
Can you see it there?
Not really. No. Not really.
Keep looking.
See? They're like the dead.
What?
How many?
Like over 20?
Yeah, over 20.
Try to find out exact. You guys are doing a good job investigating. You're looking at an animal population, right?
You can see the sewers, Jenna. Right now we are looking at shrimp that just hatched, and it looks like we're trying to count all of them to figure out how many are actually hatched so far.
And how are these tubs different?
Because they all have different amount of grams of salt.
And so what do you think is the best abiotic factor of salt? Which one, A, B, C, or D, and tell the difference?
B, because that has 2.5 grams, and it looks like that has been going successful.
And what do you base your success rate on?
How many shrimp there are wriggling around the plate.
And you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
So A, how many shrimp do we have for A? Not-
0.
0. And B, what do you think B, what was your number?
Like over.
Over a lot.
Over a lot, okay, that's very scientific. And C,
I have C right now.
and what do you think about C?
I think I got 20 plus.
Now, here's the thing, would it be okay if we just did it with one, or should we test on a lot?
A lot.
A lot, okay. Hey, that was really good, guys. I hope you learned how important abiotic factors are to living things. Hey, keep on studying.
I studied that you can't eat them.